I know that time is your most valuable asset, and I want to help you maximize it as you're preparing for your next race. I'm now offering training systems in the distances of 5K, 10K, 10 mile, half marathon, and full marathon. Go to runwithsusie.com and check it out. This passion project is supported in a few different ways. First of all, through my efforts as a Zaya Active independent representative. If you want to get a text message from me each week with my new release pick of the week, as well as a health tip, just go to newreleasewednesday.com and I will add you to my list. Second, through partnerships with Red H Nutrition and Hello Woofy. Hello Woofy is a new partner to the Run Lift Mom podcast, and you guys, this is what keeps me going in my social media efforts. It's a total time saver, and it helps me work smart on social media when I'm promoting Zaya Active or the Run Lift Mom podcast. If you'll go to runliftmompod.com/woofy, that's WOOFY, you'll learn more about Hello Woofy. runliftmompod.com/woofy. Welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast, where we're talking about running, lifting, and momming, not necessarily in that order. And today we're going to be talking squarely in the momming category with some running and lifting thrown in there, because Julia LeFavire is not only a success coach, she is also a fitness enthusiast. You guys, this woman is awesome. She is a former teacher turned entrepreneur, and you guys, we're talking about priority management and personal systems that you can have whether you're running a household or a company. Without further ado, Julia LeFavire.
Hey Run Lift Mom listeners, it's Julia LeFavire here. Susie asked me to say how COVID-19 has changed my approach, but it hasn't. Now more than ever, applying the tips and strategies I share will help you thrive through this time. So stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay home.
All right, Julia, it's my girl. We became friends on Instagram, and I legit feel like I know you, which lets me know you're really good at your job.
Hey, Susie. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you mind what I hope that we can do before we get rolling into our conversation about priority management? Talk to me about who you serve with your business as a success coach.
Absolutely. So I am an online success coach. I help women in the online world, like online marketers. I help them really stand out in their industry and learn how to speak to their ideal client. So that's what I do. But I also really help women that are wanting to start a business online and figure out what it is that they want to do. And that really helps them when they first come in, they figure it out. And then, it's easy for them to get transition into their business because they already know, who am I serving? What's the problem I solve? And that helps them stand out right away in their industry.
I love it. We were just talking about when we were in the green room, we were talking about just with online businesses, the flexibility that it allows you no matter what else happens. So like in our careers,
Yes.
I'm a great example because I was in the corporate world and then, I had triplets. And so while I thought I would have this career all the time, guess what? 4 kids in childcare, it's not pretty. So now I'm a stay-at-home mom, but an online business allows me just a lot of flexibility and an opportunity where there wouldn't be otherwise. Health crises, that kind of thing. Like if you have a presence online, it's a game changer.
Yes, absolutely. And I can agree with that because I was in the corporate world before as well, before I started online. And now I have 3 kids, daycare, all of that stuff. It's just, it just, like you said, it gives you that freedom and flexibility with your time. And we live in such an amazing time where we can run a business online. This wasn't available 20 years ago. So it's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. I'm reminded as you are in Canada and I'm in the States, we are doing a video conference as we capture this audio. And it's so cool to see you face to face.
Yeah.
The power of technology there. All right.
Yeah.
So the reason we are going to talk is because we are both women who have a lot going on. And we're going to talk about priority management and some of those systems that allow us to get a lot done with a finite time resource.
Right. Yes. I love this. I love talking about priorities and time management. This is like totally my jam. So
wonderful. Well, let's jam on. Can you tell me? So if somebody comes to you and says, wow, Julia, I'm feeling totally overwhelmed. I'm never finishing my to-do list. There's just too much to do and not enough time. What are some of the top tips that you give them?
absolutely. Okay. So here's the thing. We all have these like huge to-do lists. And sometimes we take on, like a lot of people will say to me like, oh my gosh, you do it all. And the honesty, I don't do it all. I just am really good at setting my priorities. So I think the first thing is becoming self-aware and knowing what are your priorities? What's really important to you? Like for me, I don't care about the laundry. Yes, the laundry's clean, but it doesn't have to be folded and put away and perfection. And that the old me would be like freaked out by the new me. But I just have learned that, my health is a priority. So getting in that workout every day is, something that's really important. My family is a priority. So doing things with my family comes first over other things. So I think first is becoming self-aware and figuring out what are your priorities, what is really important to you. And then when you know that, you need to align your actions with those priorities. So if it doesn't align, then we need to learn to say no. And that's a really hard one for women, especially is to say no. We think we have to say yes to everything. We have to volunteer at the school and bake the cookies and all of those things and be there for every event. And we have to learn to say no to some things. And so that would be my big advice, is to learn to say no and say yes to the priorities. Scheduling your time and really doing a time audit. How are you spending your time? Because sometimes we have this list of to-dos, but it's so big that we get overwhelmed and we end up doing nothing. Right? We spend our time scrolling, or we spend our time, just keeping busy and not actually getting through that to-do list. So it becomes even more overwhelming because we don't accomplish it. So just focusing on those priorities, aligning them with your actions, and then, even making sure, shorten your list. What are the top things that have to get done today? Not everything on that list has to get done today. So pick 3 things. And, then you feel really successful. You get through those first 3 things. It's done. Anything else is a bonus. But the rest of the things that are not a priority for that day, move them to the next day, or to a day that, is a day that you can fit it in, or it works better for you.
I want to stop you here and see what you think about. So if someone does a time audit or has an existing to-do list, how do you recommend that they decide what things are priorities? Do you recommend that they maybe do an A, B, and C, meaning A is a non-negotiable, B, I don't know, it could go either way, C, this probably shouldn't be on my list, like folding the laundry?
Right. And that's a great way to look at it. Definitely having those priorities, the things that are must do, they have to get done. For example, in my business, if I'm going to do a weekly podcast episode, I know that before, when they drop on Wednesdays, before Wednesday, I have to get that done. So I have a day that I record, and that's a must do. Or, but the laundry, that can be a C item. That can be something that can be put off. For example. So that is a great way, Susie, to look at it, like an A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3, however you want to do it. But, A's or ones are your top priority. Those are the must-dos because, maybe there's a time crunch and they have to get done by a certain time. But the things that are less important and less of a priority, they can be your C's and you can put them off to another day.
I love your point also about making sure, like, and guys, this is just an example. We're using the A, B, and C. If you find you're really overwhelmed, that would be a step one. But I don't want to gloss over that you said, whatever your priorities are, those need to be the items on your short list.
Yeah.
3 will keep you from overwhelm, but like if the items on your short list are B's or C's, no, you need to go back to the drawing board. Is that correct?
Right, exactly.
How do you recommend, so if you have someone that comes to you, Julia, and says, man, I have the hardest time saying no, how do you recommend, like, I want to talk this out for a second because you're right. This is, as women, we really struggle with it. What script do you recommend, or like, how do you coach them to say no to people?
Yeah. So, it's really, having that conversation about priorities, what's important to you, getting them to really understand that and like internalize it, right? Because a lot of times we want to please everybody else. And so we think the answer is, oh, no, this is a priority for me, but really it isn't. Is it like something that you really, really want to do, or are you just doing it to please other people? So often we'll have that conversation, but learning to say to people like, thank you so much for thinking of me, but at this time I can't fit it in. Or,
Ooh, I like that. I noticed that you didn't say, I'm sorry. You didn't make an apology. You said thank you instead.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to stop apologizing for, saying no, because we don't have to be sorry for it not fitting our priorities or not having the time to do that. We have to honor ourselves and our choices. So thank you for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. But at this time, I won't be available for that. Or, and that was something, and this comes from experience, because I was one of those people who had a really hard time saying no. I just wanted to please everyone and do everything. And that's what creates that overwhelm that we get, because we just end up pleasing everyone else but ourselves. And so, to protect that energy and to avoid that overwhelm, we have to learn to say no.
Right. Something that I often use, and it occurs to me that maybe I'm even over explaining it, but I don't like people to ask me twice. And I encourage listeners to use this. I mean, seriously, you guys, use this. Take a screenshot, because I'm going to give you my script. Write it down. I don't care. I say, no, I can't do that. If I did, it would take away from my time with God, my family, or my personal health.
I love that.
Thank you for asking. It shuts it down. And when I list those things that are priorities, I'm doing it for 2 reasons. One, I'm doing it because I don't want them to ask me in a different way. I almost want them to feel a little bit bad if they were to ask me again. But then 2, it's a mental reminder for me why I can't take on those things, because I'm a people pleaser too, but I also know my priorities, and those are my top 3.
I love that. I love that, because that's really setting the boundaries with people and teaching people how to treat you too, right? So they know the next time they're going to ask you, am I honoring Susie's boundaries? Am I honoring her priorities when I'm asking her to do such a thing?
Right.
So I love that.
And listeners, we're not asking you to go around saying no to everything. we wanted to really spell this out because we know that it's a tough one for a lot of us. We know that we will make the time for things that are important to us. But the fact is, if you make the time for one thing, it's going to take from something else.
Yes.
So in really spelling that out, for someone else, it's just incredibly helpful.
Yes, and that's the key. By saying yes to something, you're taking away from something else. So are you okay with that? If you say yes to this, are you okay with it taking away from these priorities if that thing you're saying yes to is not a priority? Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right. So you're giving us some really good tips for aligning that kind of short list to do or priority list with, actions that are, like, in a business sense, going to move our business forward. Maybe somebody is listening, though, that you're managing the household. So think of the household as your business. Like, that would be the thing that you're moving forward. What are some mistakes that you see people making when they're at this point? Like, what are some easy, sloppy mistakes that we can avoid that you've seen other people make?
Yeah, it's just the busyness and then the scrolling on social media.
Mm,
So one tool that is really great is the newsfeed eradicator. So if you get that, it blocks your newsfeed, so you can't scroll through it. So especially as not everyone that's listening is using their social media for business, but for business, then it keeps you focused on doing the tasks you need to. But then for those of you that don't run a business, it just allows you to avoid that scroll and then spend your time elsewhere, right, doing those
right.
priorities, right?
Now, is this a plugin for a browser or an app?
So it's a plugin on Google, so you can get that on your desktop, and then it leaves you little quotes, which I love. So it's a good reminder. I don't have a news feed. I read these great quotes that motivate and inspire me. So yeah, having that has been really helpful. So it doesn't matter whether you own a business or not. That'll help you eliminate that wasting your time on things that really don't matter, and then you can use that time elsewhere.
I love this because social media, you guys, it's not the devil. It's not a
No.
bad thing. There's so much greatness to be had on social media, but we need to plug into those things proactively. And so I love what you're saying about the newsfeed eradicator. If we just put that in the Googles, we'll find the plugin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like that because it keeps us going to social media proactively. And we
Yes.
all know so it's not terrible. We just need to manage the time on social media, cut the
Yes.
fat. And the
Yeah.
fat is scrolling. Social media is designed to keep us on for longer. So if we
Right.
eliminate the news feed entirely, it kind of
Yeah.
handicaps that.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I love it. Okay, talk to me a little bit about just systems that you personally use. I mean, you're a businesswoman. You coach business women and women who are after, very specific success. What kind of systems have you found to be helpful?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is going to be how I'm spending my time, having a really focused schedule. So there's, different tools and stuff that I can talk to that I use, but just being consistent at it. So having a schedule of like when I get up in the morning, eliminating, hitting that snooze button, getting in my workout first thing. So having a really focused morning routine, however you want to put it. But I know some people will spend their time with God in the morning, or they'll read personal development. So for me, I get up, I go and I do my personal development while I'm getting in my workout. So this is sort of the multitasking that I tell people is okay, because you
Right?
can get in your workout, you can listen to personal development at the same time. I know, Susie, you do that. You're listening to podcasts, or you're catching up on a show or something when you're running on the treadmill. So that's a way where you can, make up time almost, right? So, which I love. So I have sort of my routine, and I have tools that help me stay on track with what those priorities are. What is the goal that I'm working towards? So this works whether you have a business or not. What is it something that you're working on right now? So I use a push journal, and that helps me focus. Every day I'm reminded of what's that goal I'm working on over the next 30 days. And then I have my 3 tasks written down on there that I have to accomplish that day. There are 3 tasks that help me towards that push goal. And then it also gives me the opportunity to put in my day. Like, what am I doing every hour, every half hour during the day? So I can schedule in things. It allows me to see the week at a glance and how I'm spending my time as well, and making sure that I am staying on track. And by looking at it too, it allows me not to overfill my day. So avoid that overwhelm. So I can keep those 3 tasks in there on my schedule as well. So that really helps.
it's highly recommended, and we'll link in show notes. Depending on where somebody's listening, they can either swipe up or click on that details hyperlink. But I mean, I hope people are hearing what you're saying. First of all, that 30 days is by design, because we know with behavior change, that's how long it takes, you guys. That is how long it takes. So if you're working towards something, you need to do it. I don't know where 14 days came in. No, all of behavioral health science is saying more. I mean, it's 19 to 45 is the latest that I've seen. So that what's the average on that? About 30. And I love what you're saying about the system having the 3, like we talked about earlier, those things that are pushing you to your goal, as well as that journal specifically allows you almost to do a time audit and trim some fat if you've got some time wasters.
Yeah, absolutely. It allows you to kind of visually see your day and how am I spending my time? Where can I fit things in as well? Because we get so busy, and you know, by being able to see it, I know I'm very visual. So being able to look at it and go, oh, well, I have this block right here, or, you know, I have 30 minutes before I hop on, you know, this recording of this podcast, you know, what can I fit in, you know, maybe a 15-minute block. So at least it gives me 15 minutes to prepare. So I'm not overwhelmed hopping on here. Right. Or, but really looking at those pockets of your day. And that's how I was able to, you know, run a business while I was still working full time. Was looking at those power pockets, those 15-minute blocks where, you know, I would have, I was a teacher, so I would have a lunch hour, and I didn't need 45 minutes to an hour to eat lunch. So I would, you know, prep my class for the next lesson that would come after lunch. I would go and spend 15 minutes eating. Possibly, sometimes I would be listening to personal development while I was eating. And then I would have a 15-minute block where I could message clients and check in with them. So it's like really looking at your schedule and how am I spending my time, right? It's that time audit. It's looking at those power pockets. Where do I have 15 minutes that I can spend time either building a business or, you know, doing something that a goal that you're working towards?
I have never heard it called power pockets, and I'm about to jump out of my seat. I love it. So when I was a behavioral health coach, people have heard this referred to. It's called the Pomodoro technique, where it's 15 minutes. So guys, what you're hearing is Julia describe the Pomodoro technique in action. And so this is something that has been proven for productivity, that if you can task out your day into 15-minute pockets, we know that is when you are going to be peak productive anyway. But if you can make your tasks 15 minutes at a time. And I know for a lot of women, the struggle is we'll say, okay, I'll put 3 things on the to-do list. And then there are things that like take 3 hours. Like, oh, I'm going to write a book. No, you're putting several tasks into one. If you can get some of your daily tasks in your daily system down to a 15-minute habit, now you can stick in 15 minutes Pomodoro, or Power Pocket is a better name, Power Pocket style. And you know, I work with a lot of women on the Zy Active side of my Run Lift Mom business that like they've got a full-time job, so they're doing either power hours or power half hours. What I hear you saying is, dude, split that up into 15-minute power pockets, and now you can shove it into your day wherever it's going to fit, right?
Right. Exactly. Like I would take time, you know, I would take 15 minutes before leaving work, before having to pick up the kids from daycare. I'd take that 15 minutes, go and message a few people. And it's really hard. Like you said, you know, we sometimes have those tasks that are supposed to take an hour or 3 hours. So, you know, messaging people may have taken me an hour a day or plus. But I would only message, you know, 3 or 4 people in that 15 minutes or 5 people, whatever I could fit in. And I knew that, you know, later in the day, I would have another 15-minute pocket where I could message the rest of the people. And it was allowing myself to go, you don't have to finish in that 15 minutes. Just do whatever you can. And it allowed me to be even more productive because it was like a competition with myself, like how much can I get done in that 15 minutes? Whereas it's so easy to waste 15 minutes because it's such a short amount of time. So often we just, I only have 15 minutes. So I'm just going to scroll, or I'm just going to do this before I have to go to that appointment or head to work or whatever it is, where as it taught me to go, I have 15 minutes. I can accomplish X, Y, and Z in that time. Go. So that really helped me. Those power pockets just really were a big game changer.
It occurs to me that this is the same in fitness. I think we're both post-workout as we talk. It's that more than nothing mentality. It's that if you've got 15 minutes, you can do something. And as a game of inches, that is better than nothing. And it does add up.
Yes, absolutely. It adds up for sure.
I love it. I love it. All right. So one more question before we get into maybe some rapid fire. You know, let's say somebody adopts a system, they get the journal, they're doing their thing, and it's just not working. They're like, dude, I'm not any more productive than I was when I started this. How long should we try something out before we know if it's going to flow for us? And when do we strategic quit and try something else?
I would say give yourself that 30 days, but this goes with the whole goal setting and all of that. And we want to look at 30 days, but, tweak. Don't just abandon ship because it didn't work. It's it works for health and fitness with your clients. They're like, oh, this nutrition plan doesn't work for me, or I haven't lost any weight with this fitness, it's not working. So it doesn't work. So I'm done with it. It's tweaking. So really, this is where tracking comes in. And it's really important having something like a push journal or whatever, some sort of tracking system, whatever works for you. And that will give you the information you need to go, how do I tweak this? What is it about it that's not working? Was I actually following the nutrition plan? Did I show up every day to my workout? Am I showing up every day to my business and actually inviting people? But I would just tweak. So look at that information that from tracking and revisit, reassess it, and then revise it.
I love this.
So those
it's like you're your own coach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So just tweak it. Okay, what is this information giving me? And how can I readjust it and revise it in order to move forward? So revisit, reassess, and revise. And that I'm always in that constant state of going, okay, give myself that time to see, is it really not working for me, or am I not working for this plan, right? Am I not actually doing the things I need to do in order to see this plan through? Did
you hear that, guys? The 3 R's: revisit, reassess, revise. That is fantastic. It occurs to me, I just did this with a run coach client. She's doing a half marathon training plan, and she said, oh, I get all my stuff in the Garmin. Like my Garmin tracks my mileage and my workout and all that good stuff. And so guys, my conversation to her was, no, I want you to write it down on pen and paper, because in the half marathon after this, you're going to need to look back at that exact schedule, and you're going to be able to do some self-coaching and know how to make it better, what worked, what didn't, based on what your week to week looked like. So she's going to do the 3 R's there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. The acronym helps us remember it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Julia, can I do a rapid fire with you just for fun? This has nothing to do with priority management or systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. I'm just going to throw a couple of things out, and you let me know which you prefer and what comes to mind first. All right. Leopard print or stripes?
Stripes.
All right. That was very definitive. How about a physical book or like a Kindle or a digital book?
Digital. So Audible all the way. Time saver.
Carry around the whole library in that small piece.
Yeah.
And then finally, less rapid, more fire. Tell me a little bit about first date, anniversary.
Oh, boy. Tell you about anniversary. Holy moly. Well, I would say anniversary over a first date. First date, my husband and I are going to be celebrating 14 years together this summer. So, but I'm looking forward to the next one, the 15th year one, because that's a big year, 10 years of marriage and 15 years together. So we're planning a big trip for that one.
Ah, the big trip is absolutely the one to get excited about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I love this conversation. I love first of all, I love collaborative abundance mindset women coming together. And I hope that this show will be a blessing to those looking to tighten up their schedule, but then boost their productivity.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Susie.
Julia LeFavire, you are a star. Thank you for coming on the Run Lift Mom podcast. You guys, I think my favorite concept from this was power pockets. I want to challenge everyone listening to think about some tasks that they can fit into a 10 to 15 minute block. P.S. That could be fitness, because we know that something is more than nothing. Get your tasks, think about them right now, whether you are managing a household CEO, or you are an entrepreneur like Julia yourself. I want you to think about 3 different tasks that you could fit within a 15-minute segment. Then, when you find yourself with 15 minutes, do one of those tasks. Thank you so much for listening to the Run Lift Mom podcast. And until I get into your earpiece again, remember, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. That's from 1 Timothy 4:8, and this has been the Run Lift Mom podcast. Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, you know I'm the mom of 4 kids under age 5, and therefore I am always looking for ways to work smart, not hard. Anchor is the smartest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, but Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so then it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole lot more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is quite literally everything you need all in one place. And y'all, it's free. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, I've got Arjun Rai here. He is the founder of Hello Woofie. Arjun, tell me, how can moms with social media passion projects or side jobs be more present with Hello Woofie?
It's a great question. Imagine having a nanny that works with you 24/7. Heck, forget one nanny. Having a dozen nannies working for you 24/7, giving you the right recommendations, when to give them, when to feed your kids, what to feed them, how to feed them, when to take them to school, what level of education they should be, they should be receiving, whether in mathematics and education. Think of that nanny or team of nannies working for you 24/7, helping you with your social media. What words do well, what emojis do well, what images will do well with what you've typed in. Heck, when you upload an image, it automatically translates the words in the image and automatically types a post for you. It even gives you recommendations for hashtags based on what is in the image. There's so much technology, there's so much smart technology in the product itself. We just want to give every small business owner, every mom, the fighting chance to compete with unlimited marketing budgets of the world. And so if you want to try it, go to hellowoofie.com. But it's that nanny. It's a team of nannies working with you 24/7.
Thank you for listening to the Run Lift Mom podcast. This began as a passion project in February 2019, and now, you guys, it is legit my favorite thing to do each week. Record with the guests that come on Run Lift Mom, and then share their knowledge and expertise with you. I love this. I have done a lot of things right with this show. The thing that I've done wrong, I haven't asked you to rate, review, and subscribe enough. You guys, this is how other people find the show. So please do me a solid, rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you for being a listener of Run Lift Mom. You guys, I'm thrilled to announce a new partner on Run Lift Mom, and that is Audible. I've been an Audible member for over 10 years, and my favorite part, hands down, it's the gift of time. I use the free app to take notes as I'm doing my long run and I hear something fantastic, and you are going to love it. If you want to try Audible free, visit audibletrial.com/runliftmom. That's RUNLIFTMOM. Again, for a free trial, visit audibletrial.com/runliftmom. Lift Mom. Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, if you are here for business or entrepreneur type topics, I want to let you know I have a new show. It's called Serve Then Sell, and it's available on 10 different channels, including Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. The idea here is not to just lump in the business topics with running, lifting, and momming. I want to create more of a separation. I hope you will come hang out with me over there. Again, the name of the show is called Serve Then Sell. Enter that into any search box and you're going to see it come right up. We'll be running, lifting, and momming over here. I hope you'll still hang out. Check in over there if it will be a blessing for you.